No, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and our annual spring sales event is now underway. We have absolutely huge savings right now at Coppell. New Sierras and new Silverados have a double whammy. Choose from APR starting at 1.9% or discounts over $9,000. Yes, that's right, 1.9% APR or discounts of over $9,000. So please take that short money-saving drive down 144th Street just south of the interstate, or check us out online at coppellcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
Soulful Casino in Havelock is a family-owned business, providing incredible food and service that'll have you craving more with every bite. Soulful Casino offers everything from pulled pork to fried chicken, catfish, ribs, and even quesadillas. You want sides? They've got them. From fries, green beans and baked beans, to collard greens, potato salad, and sweet dill corn. Stop by for lunch as they have specials Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. That's Soulful Casino, located in Havelock, where every bite you take fills the soul.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Walk On Weekly with your hosts, Nebraska men's basketball players Sam Hoiberg and Jeff Grace III. This is Walk On Weekly, sponsored by the Scarlet Hotel.
All right, welcome back in to the return of Walk On Weekly. We got a full studio in here today. We got Sam Hoiberg and Jeff Grace III, the host as always, and a guest as well. And while we got Sam Hoiberg trying to figure out a Rubik's Cube of headphones over there, once he gets that figured out, I'll let him go ahead and bring in his own guest. But in the meantime, it's been a minute, guys. The basketball season, I know, didn't end great, but a successful one nonetheless. He gave people plenty of things to root for. But Sam Hoiberg, who do we got in studio with us today?
We got Michigan State legend, Jack Hoiberg.
Thank you guys for having me.
And University of Texas Arlington legend.
Can't forget that. Glad to be here.
Yeah. And again, if you guys ever want to join the show, as I said, we got a full studio in here today. 402-464-5685. Sutter Heyman text line as always. Put a face to the voice. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 961. But yeah, I mean, where do you guys want to start? It's been a while since we've talked. We've got arguably the best night of TNT basketball on the playoffs yesterday. 2 games that were awesome, as well as the Nebraska basketball season. And then, of course, we'll dive into Jack a little bit as well. But I'll leave it to you guys. Where do you want to start in the basketball world?
I mean, we can't avoid last night.
No, I'm going to start there.
Maybe one of the best double headers in NBA TNT history.
Yeah, I think it has to be. I can't think of anything even better than that. I mean, both those
best
games.
endings.
Best endings,
Yeah, it's
for
up there
sure.
for sure.
I mean, let's start with the Lakers and Nuggets, because that one I think by far stuck out the most. Do the Lakers even have a chance of stopping a sweep or even winning the series?
I think they might get one in LA, but other than that, not really. Denver just has so much momentum going into it, and they're just like overall good team and have a lot of depth. So I don't think LA really has a chance, to be honest.
The tough thing is LA held Denver to 23% from the three, and they weren't able to get it done. And they shot 44 from the three. And D'Angelo Russell came out and had a hot start. AD had a hot start. LeBron had a great fourth quarter. And you have to capitalize in those games for them in Philly to try to steal one on the road, especially when you're the higher seed. So for neither of those teams to get it done, it was probably a little bit heartbreaking for them. But now you have to go win some games at home.
Yeah, I mean, I think, did anything change with the home teams winning? Did every home team win? Cleveland won last night as well.
Yep,
So
Cleveland won.
every home team has won. So you can see it becoming a 2-2 series in every series. But obviously, the teams that are favored to win are the ones that are 2-0 at home right now. But I can definitely see the Lakers winning a game or two, but I cannot see them coming back in the series.
Yeah, I saw a crazy stat. This is the first time in LeBron's career where he's lost 6 straight playoff games, all 6 straight to the Denver Nuggets. At some point, I mean, mentally, that's got to weigh on you too, where you just can't quite get over that hump. And you mentioned it, D'Angelo Russell. I feel like every playoff series, you need that X factor. You could even argue in like game 1, it was KCP with some really big moments. But D'Angelo Russell finally had that great game. Anthony Davis, tough after having the Defensive Player of the Year comments. And I'm not even going to get him on that because there hasn't been a single player that's been able to figure out Jokic yet. I mean, his stat line, a 20 rebound, just strong double-double. I mean, the guy's just out of his mind. Like, is there anybody in the league right now that's better than Nikola Jokic? Or is he a clear MVP? Because there's no one that can stop him, it just feels like.
You know, I think that triple-double last night. He had
27,
20, 10. He, like you said, he's unstoppable. No one's been able to figure it out. If you play him one-on-one, he's unguardable in the post. If you go and double him, he's going to make the right play and he's going to find the open man. I think the guy that kind of rivals him this year for MVP is SGA from OKC. And for them to go from, I think they were the 10 seed last year, they were in the play-in for sure, to now being the number 1 seed in the West, who's by far the best conference this year, just top to bottom. I'm not saying the best team, but the best conference. And for them to get that number 1 seed in Shea to lead the NBA in steals and average over 30 points per game and be extremely efficient, over 50% from the field, I think he's the only one that has a real argument. But with that being said, I think Jokic might still be the favorite, which says a lot about him and says a lot about the NBA and how important having a player of his caliber is that can make his teammates better the way that he makes them better. And I think an underrated defender, personally.
Yeah, he's gotten way better on that end. Earlier, you could definitely get on him about that. Like and he was a net negative for the most part on defense, but even now, like he's gotten way better at that end of the court. Like just in terms of getting in passing lanes. I mean, the guy's massive too. He knows how to throw.
Very smart.
Very smart player. And with SGA, you do have to give him credit because I think like the OKC's average age is like just under 24 years old, which is insane.
Really impressive.
Yeah, and he led that team in what feels like one of the most loaded Western conferences we've had in a long time to a number 1 seed. So SGA, like it's fair. I can definitely see it, but man, Joker, until one player has any sort of recipe on how you slow that guy down, I still got to give it to him. Luka, close. Just the consistency for him is kind of where it falls off, and especially in the series right now, has been great against the Clippers. But yeah, I'm thinking Nuggets probably all the way just because they haven't taken a beat off. There's been no slump in it. With Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron's getting older. I mean, is there any route, any game plan that you think the Lakers have a chance if they're just going to try to flip this series around? Because we have seen it before, right? 2-0 doesn't mean you're guaranteed to lose.
Yeah, I think it's got to go back to LeBron doing LeBron things. AD needs to be playing out of his mind, obviously. And I think that first half, what he did was unbelievable. I mean, he was absolutely cooking Jokic. And everybody saw that, but that speaks to Jokic's improvement on the defensive end in the second half. I don't know what he had in the first half. I know he had 24 at least at one point. I don't know if that's what he ended with, but if that's what he finished with, he had 8 in the second half, which is not good enough to beat that team. And I mean, LeBron had a great fourth quarter, but it just came down to that last shot. I mean, you can't really give him any digs on not making that last shot. And then, D'Lo played great. You got to see the role players really play well. And I mean, they got to really have everything come together in order to beat the Nuggets. I think that goes for pretty much every team in the Western Conference. And then maybe the Celtics can take them down.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Jokic, that first quarter he scored, and then he cooled off for a long part. He was still getting a lot of rebounds, still being a good playmaker, but offensively, and that was the crazy part because Jamal Murray, too, was ice cold for the longest part, and to hit that crazy game winner, which has just been kind of his go-to shot in late game situations, is that mid-range fade. But he drains it, and I don't know if you saw at the end, too. We'll have to dive into it later, but Jokic's brothers, once again, strike. Crazy story there. And if anybody saw it, TMZ reported it. Kind of tells you the direction of that storyline. But yeah, just looking at it, Anthony Davis still played a great game. 45 minutes, 12 for 23, 0 for 4 from 3. That's not really his game. 8 for 9 on the free throws. He still grabbed 14 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 blocks, only 2 turnovers, 32 points on the night. And then Jokic, he would finish with 32 points, 15 for 23. Just an incredible game from him. Or excuse me, I'm looking at game 1 here. I got to go to game 2. But nonetheless, he does get a triple-double on that one. Just absolutely dominates. I want to ask you, though, because one thing I noticed with the Denver Nuggets is how much continuity matters. Like, you look at a team, everybody knows their role. Like, how important is that for any team, even at the college level, that to have that continuity, to understand everybody's role?
I think it just makes it a little easier to, like, play with each other, play within the offense, and then also, like, just have fun while you're playing. Because, I mean, if you don't have fun, then pretty much what are you doing it for? I think it just allows the game to move at a good pace, that you guys like have the advantage, that like when tough times come, you guys can come together and embrace each other and then get over the hump.
Offensively, I think if you were to draw a team on paper and say this is the ideal team in basketball in general at any level, you have a big in Jokic that you can play through. You have a guard in Murray that you can play through. You have KCP who can, shoot the ball at a very high level. Same with Michael Porter Jr., one of the best shooters in the NBA. And then you have a bruiser down low in Aaron Gordon, who's a great cutter, and he plays in the dunker, and he's very active, can get offensive rebounds as well. And, all of them have the ability to step out and make a jump shot. And they all know how to play, and they play very well together. And then on the defensive end, they're all older, and they know how to play, and they know how to make up for each other's mistakes. And they're all guarding the pick and roll. It's not 2-on-2. It's 5-on-5, which is very important, especially if you don't have an elite rim protector in the NBA. So I think if you were to build out a team, you would build out a team like the Denver Nuggets, especially on the offensive end of the floor.
Yeah, they just got so many weapons. And that's the one thing where we talked about, like Jamal Murray, Jokic, no, they weren't playing great, but you've had moments where KCP, even like my guy like Michael Porter Jr., I always preach patience, especially a guy like, Michael Porter Jr. at one point in time, you've maybe been unsure, especially with the spinal injury. You just weren't sure which direction, but they held on to him. He's had big moments as well. And they just have so many options to where when you look at the Lakers, it feels like if AD or LeBron, if either of those has a bad game, they're just not going to win. And you go to the Nuggets side, even if Jamal Murray isn't on fire like he was last night, he picked it up at the end, but they still give their team a chance just because from top to bottom, they just feel like they're all aware of the role and when they need to pick it up. And if one guy's out, somebody else knows, okay, it's my role to kind of step it up. And you look at the Lakers, I mean, looking at them with guys like Austin Reeves, does he just need to be more aggressive? Like, that's the one thing I come away with those games is I can't help but feel like, especially when you're mile high, that altitude up there, I feel like those guys got to be more aggressive. I mean, you got a LeBron James in his 40s just absolutely laboring out there playing. And I do got it up now. He played a whopping 38 minutes. Anthony Davis, 39 minutes. And LeBron James, still a great game. 9 for 19, 3 for 6. Unfortunately, missed that last three-pointer. 26 points overall. He gets the double-double with 12 assists. Was playing a great game up until that point. But guys like Rui Hachimura, 1 for 7. D'Angelo Russell, yes, he had a better game, 8 for 16. Austin Reeves, 4 for 11. And then on the bench, you didn't have any really much production at all outside of Prince, 2 for 3 from the 3-point line. But I'm just not seeing it in that Lakers depth to where they're going to have a chance to kind of swing this thing around. And then on the opposite end, you look at the Nuggets bench and they can be up and down. But a guy like Braun last night, 5 for 8, he gets the hot hand off the bench. It's just small things like that seem to be pushing teams deeper into the playoffs. You got to have a deep bench. But looking at the Los Angeles Lakers, is this kind of feel like an end of the road season if they can't figure out a way to at least get out of this hump here and beat the Denver Nuggets, or at least just not go out on a sweep?
I don't think it feels like the very end of the road. I think that there are teams that are obviously much better than them this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to make moves and bring in people around LeBron and AD. From what it seems like, LeBron is not slowing down at any level right now. He's still very capable, and I think he can be a great player on a championship team. He's not going to be your number one, but like when you have AD, he should be the number one guy, and he needs to play like that every night for them to have a chance. But I think you need more shooting around him. I don't love Rui Hachimura being one of the main guys in the like role player situation that they have. He just doesn't bring enough of a shooting presence. And Jack, you could probably speak to more of that of their role players. I don't watch a ton of the Lakers, but I feel like with LeBron, he's going to find shooters. I don't think they have many just knockdown guys around him right now. And the championship team a few years ago, obviously LeBron was playing at a higher level, but you had guys like Danny Green that were known to be knockdown shooters and people around him that I think fit a bit better. Mm-hmm. Austin Reeves is a great scorer, but he's not a guy that's going to go shoot 8 threes and make 6 of them on any given night. He's going to get to scoring his own ways, and I don't think you necessarily need that when you're playing with two superstars, really, with LeBron and AD. LeBron is still playing at a superstar level, and I just feel like this isn't really the roster construct that they need to win a championship. But I don't think it's necessarily the end of the road for the Lakers, but they need to certainly make some changes.
Yeah, just looking at a guy like KCP, who is just ironic that, of course, he's on the Denver Nuggets.
Too, yeah. I know I was missing one more, but he was on that championship team.
Mm-hmm. And even the guy like, JaVale McGee, I know he's not the greatest center out there, but he had some big moments, and he's another guy that's just kind of a veteran. He's been there before, knew how to step up in big moments. Also was arguably a really big part of that bubble when they won it in that bubble tournament for the finals. But yeah, I just don't know how many moves that they have up their sleeve, like the Russell Westbrook experiment. That one, you look at it, field failed, but then you see it on the Clippers, and they figure out a way to find a perfect role for Russell Westbrook coming off the bench and just kind of being that energy guy. Jack, since you've kind of been to the college level and now you're around that NBA atmosphere, what are some of the keys to team building that you've really noticed that is just way different from the college level and that NBA level?
Well, I'll start with the Lakers. First off, one thing I like that they're doing defensively is they're switching up coverages on Jokic. Some plays they're doubling him, some plays they're letting him play one-on-one, and they're switching up with Rui on him, with LeBron on him, with AD roaming around the rim, and then they're also having AD guard him sometimes. But the thing about the Laker roster is they have a lot of guys who can go out and make a play. They have, like you said, the Austin Reeves, the D'Lo, the guys off the bench.
Rui can make a play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rui can make a play, exactly, and you can run sets for these guys to come off in action and try to score the basketball. And LeBron's going to be LeBron. He's going to get his 25. He's going to get his 8 and 7. And we know that he's 39 years old now. And some of these other guys have to step up, and they have to bring what they were brought in to do. And I think that these guys with the Lakers, they were brought in to be playmakers and be X factors, like you said earlier, in these playoff games and in this playoff atmosphere. They have guys who have been around the league, and D'Lo's been around, and he's a guy who can come in and he can score 30 points. AD has to be AD, LeBron has to be LeBron, and then the role players have to step up. And Gabe Vincent's a very active defender. Taurean Prince, active defender who can come out and knock down a 3-pointer. And so for them to have success, and I really do think that roster could beat any team in the league. They just got a tough draw with Denver.
Yeah.
But they have a capable roster to go out and beat teams. But if those those bench guys and those role players aren't playing at their best, then it's going to be tough for them to, win a playoff series, especially against the Nuggets.
Yeah, it's probably the toughest draw I think you get. I mean, would you rather face the Denver Nuggets or the 1C OKC Thunder?
Everyone knows the answer to that question.
OKC Thunder, for sure.
So what is about the OKC Thunder? Like, are you guys just weighing that on the youth of the team or just the overall skill set of the Denver Nuggets? Because they are the number 1 seed. And again, like, that is impressive. Like, all season long, they've been consistently great.
I would say it comes down to experience, honestly, because I feel like in playoff moments, you look at like your veteran, and then like if you don't like really have a veteran, it's kind of hard to know when those moments come, to like who to go to or like how to find the shot. So I feel like I'd rather face the Oklahoma City Thunder rather than the Denver Nuggets because the Denver Nuggets obviously have been there. OKC really haven't been there. Who knows how far they'll make it this year? But yeah, I think that's just like an easier route rather than the route they're on right now.
Yeah, Sam, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious answer to the question with Denver being the defending champions and OKC being an extremely young team, and we see year after year how important experience is in the playoffs. But it does scare me a bit for the future because that OKC team, they have a great culture built. And if they can maintain kind of the trajectory they're on with that roster without losing guys to getting bigger contracts at other places, they can be special. And I don't think many people have very high expectations for them, including myself right now. So anything they do is really a bonus. But what they showed this year is extremely, extremely impressive. And I think it's a testament to their culture that they built. I mean, you see them in post-game interviews. They're all got their arms around each other. They're barking.
Yeah, they get the reporter to even bark with them.
Yeah, they get everyone I saw there's a video of Jalen Williams barking, and then they panned the camera to like a probably 65-year-old couple. They're both barking. And it was awesome. And the way they play together, they obviously love each other as teammates, and it's really paid off for them. And we'll see if that continues in the playoffs, and I'm excited to see if it does for them. But yeah, just based on that experience they have, I think a lot of people think they can take advantage of them. I think LeBron, if he saw a bunch of young 24 and under guys, he would have been probably licking his chops at that matchup. And it was unfortunate that the Spurs beat the Nuggets to kick them out of the first place seed down the stretch there. So they had the tougher matchup early.
Yeah, and that's a tough matchup for Chet too. You know, if they were somehow like Chet having to guard Anthony Davis, he would look like the defensive player of the year if that's the matchup. Like Chet's had a great season. You got 2 7-footers. Technically, I know Chet, he's year 2, but obviously hurt. So technically his rookie year this year. And then Victor Wembanyama, just another freak athlete. Just the cast around him, not quite there yet to where they can make those playoff runs. But you got a lot of exciting young players. And then again, you think of the OKC Thunder, 2 years ago? Or maybe even 3 years ago. I want to say 2 years ago, the number 2 pick overall. You flash forward just a couple of years. Now they're number 1 in the West. And now let's head over to the East, though, because we got to talk about the other game that was just awesome the other day. Also kind of came all the way down to the wire. Philadelphia 76ers will lose to the New York Knicks 101-104. Joel Embiid, 34 points. Maxey with a huge game. He gets 35. And then on the New York Knicks side, just really all around scoring. Your highest scorer being Brunson, who's been putting on a clink just about all year, 24 points. And then a big contribution from Josh Hart as well with 21. This series, I'm not going to lie, I thought the 76ers were going to have a good chance to upset the Knicks here. But what are you guys thinking as the series continues to play out, being down already 2-0 to the Knicks?
Yesterday, before we get into it, I would say they lost on rebounding. Rebounding was a big thing at the end of the game. I'm pretty sure they were shooting like a free throw or something. Or was it 3-point? No, the Knicks were shooting a 3-pointer, and then they had a chance to like grab the board. The 76ers did, and they didn't get the rebound. So then the Knicks got another opportunity. Jalen Brunson hit a 3, like rimmed in, and then Tyrese Maxey gets the ball. They get the ball in. Tyrese Maxey. They play it out, which I thought was pretty crazy because I've never really seen like the refs allow it to be played out.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting going forward. But then the Knicks get a steal, and then Dante DiVincenzo hits a 3. So I thought that came down in the possessions.
Right. And the thing for Philly is you look at their roster and you say they probably should be the team that's winning the series. But if you're watching the games, you see Embiid at times looks like he can't even run. And for an MVP caliber player and the defending MVP to come out and not be 100% healthy, you can see that it's impacting Philly. And you see Tyrese Maxey at the end of games is coming out and he's taking the big shots, and credit to him, he's hitting them. But New York's had a great year and they play very well together, and they have a guy in Brunson, and you could also make the argument that it would look a lot different if Julius Randle was playing for the Knicks. But they have a team that guys like Miles McBride and Dante DiVincenzo and
bunch of dogs,
Josh Hart, these guys they play really hard, and I think they enjoy playing with each other, and they're very cohesive as a group, and it shows on the floor. And for them to grit out that win last night was huge for them going to Philly. You say that a series doesn't really start until an away team wins a game, but we'll see when they go to Philly, because I think it might be a different story there.
Yeah, and I think what Jeff said with the rebounding, I know the crowd energy played a big part of it, but I mean, that New York team just plays so hard. They outworked them yesterday, and they got rewarded in that final moment. There may have been a couple fouls, but there were fouls that could have gone the other way the whole game, and they ended up with them hitting that shot to take the lead, and they ended up getting the win. Philadelphia still had a chance, but Hartenstein got a block at the end. It just, everything just kind of showed a testament to how hard they play and how well they play together. But yeah, I agree with Jack that Philly's still got a chance. They're not out of it at all. If Embiid can get that knee right, go get 2 wins in Philly, it's right back where it started again. And I think if they get those 2 wins, it will be very difficult for the Knicks to overcome that momentum. And we can just see what happens from here on out. But I think a lot of it comes down to Embiid's knee and Maxey's play as well. But that doesn't look like it's going anywhere.
Yeah, it's tough series. It gives you hope that, again, if you're a 76er fan, they're heading to one of the tougher venues to play. Philadelphia 76er fan base, they're always loud. They get the place going, a lot of energy in there. So, if I were going to pick an upset here, I feel a lot better about the 76ers Knicks series than, again, the Lakers series. It just felt like that was a perfect storm for them to try to steal one on the road. Before we go to break here, how much do you guys buy into the altitude? Because in game one, I know a lot of people are upset. AD's got his hands on his knees at the very end of that game. They just looked tired out there. Like, maybe I put too much into that, but I buy a lot into that high altitude.
I have had one experience playing in altitude, and it was an exhibition against Colorado where I played 0 minutes, but we had a shoot around there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first warm-up line, we do a couple jogs just to warm up, and I was gassed after jogging. So obviously I don't know if you get accustomed to it after being there for a few days or playing there. Obviously they played there a bunch of times, but I could definitely see it being a huge factor, because when you're tired like that, it's so much harder to be effective. And if AD's got his hands on his knees, he's going to probably be playing a lot worse. And I mean, I'm sure Jack, you guys probably talk about that at length when you're playing there. And I mean, I'm curious to see what you say.
I played a scrimmage there when I was at Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
And it's real. The altitude's real. I'll tell you that right now. It's real. I think coaches in general probably try to avoid talking about it because you don't want to get it in your players' heads to have them think about the altitude when they're playing. But, as a former player now, I can tell you it's very real.
Yeah. And if, even if you doubt any of that, like their home record for the Nuggets, even when they weren't this elite unit, they've always played well at home, and there's a reason for that. With that being said, we'll go ahead and throw it to our first break here. This is the return of Walk On Weekly. We got Sam Hoiberg, Jeff Grace III, host as always, and guest Jack Hoiberg in studio with us as well. Don't go anywhere. We got 2 more segments on the other side.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 12th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, we're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you are passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Community means something different to everyone. But for me, it means cheering on those around you during the good times and helping them out during the tough times. I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I've been blessed with the support of my friends, family, coaches, and community throughout my life. When looking for a bank to call home, it was easy to choose Midwest Bank. I never feel like just another customer, and they're proud to support their communities. They love what they do, and it shows. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone back with the latest update from Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, your new car selection keeps getting better and better every month. Can you tell our listeners all about it?
You know, it sure is, Charlie. It's great that our customers can come in, pick out a new Honda, and drive away with it that day.
How many new Hondas do you have in stock?
Well, right now we have just about 100 in stock.
Hey, I hear you've won some very important awards in your service department. Tell us about them.
Well, the first one is we won the award for the first fixed award. So the cars are actually fixed on the very first time they're brought in. Second award is our Customer Service Experience Award. And then our third award is our Honda Express Service Elite. And we rank the best in quality and customer satisfaction.
Maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Are you tired of living in pain? It's time to take control. At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, we're your one-stop shop for expert care in Lincoln. From broken bones to complex reconstruction, our skilled team will help you get back on track. Visit prairieortho.com today and discover why we're the trusted choice for thousands of patients. Don't let pain hold you back. Take the first step towards a better pain-free life with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins. Call 402-489-4700.
Whether you're looking for a place to stay for a concert at PBA, a Nebraska home game, or just a night on the town, the Courtyard Lincoln Downtown Haymarket is the place for you. Enjoy an evening at one of many restaurants or bars within a short walking distance. Business travelers at the hotel will enjoy free high-speed internet access, a 24-hour business center, and large in-room workstations. And check out the Bistro, where you'll enjoy healthier food and beverage options, as well as high-tech conveniences. Book your room today at the Courtyard Lincoln Downtown Haymarket.
Do you need motivation to get to the gym on the weekend or even in general? Tune into the Movement Hour each Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Movement Academy owner Robert Kuhlman will host the show as he introduces new ways to stay in shape. The Movement Hour, every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I see the future in our public school classrooms every day. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. I also see how critically important parent and community support is to our students' success. Support your public schools. Get involved. Form a business school partnership or become a school volunteer. Great schools and great communities work hand in hand.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
back to Walk On Weekly. Here are your hosts, Sam Hoiberg and Jeff Grace III on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. Once again, this is Walk On Weekly. We got the host back, Sam Hoiberg, Jeff Grace III, and Sam's brother, Jack Hoiberg, as well, all in studio with me to my left. If you guys ever want to join in, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Put a face to the voice, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 961 as always. But yeah, we kind of left off just talking a little bit about the college game. And you know, I do got to ask, especially since we've seen the Kentucky head coach head down to Arkansas of all places, Calipari moving on. What is kind of the recipe for college basketball now in terms of, do you want a bunch of one and dones or almost NBA fringe guys? Because you look at teams like UConn and even teams in the past that have won it, like Kansas, UCLA teams, they haven't won it, but they made deep runs, and it's teams composed of guys that stick around. Is that almost essential now if you're going to make any sort of run deep into March Madness?
I think it's going to last for another year or two with COVID seniors being done.
That's a big part of it.
100% done. I think this year is going to be the last year of it, like for the most part. And then there'll be guys with red shirts, medical red shirts that can still have it. But yeah, once the COVID seniors are done, that might become a better game plan to bring in guys that are going to be one and dones that can compete with guys that are only 4 years older than them, as opposed to 7 years older than them. Because, I mean, you got guys that are playing that are 25. Derek Walker was 25 by the end of his career at Nebraska. And it doesn't matter. Like, if Derek Walker played Xavier Booker, who was a 5-star freshman last year going into Michigan State, if he was playing him, he would have absolutely killed him just because he knew how to play, and he's got 50 pounds on him, and just he's a real adult man.
He's a grown man at that point.
Trying to play as a freshman right now, even if you're one of the best prospects in the country, is very difficult. And there's so many guys that are extremely talented, and they're just struggling because they're playing they're playing adults out there, and they're struggling with that. But I think right now you cannot go with the all freshman teams. I mean, you saw in the tournament, Kentucky lost to Jack Golke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's tough right now.
Yeah, and you're definitely right. I mean, I think there's that Cam McCormick for Miami. 9th year tight end. Like, that's an insane, I mean, 9 years in college. I hope he's getting a couple degrees out of it while he's there, make it worth his while. But yeah, I do think at the time it made a lot of sense, but now I feel like we're almost seeing the negative in the worst kind of ways, where a lot of these guys, I get it, why you'd want to stick around. Like, it's your right, try to build up your stock, get another degree, take some NIL money, but it definitely does feel like there's some unfair advantages out there. So I think it'll switch maybe a little bit, but I was still kind of in the camp that you need that good mix of veterans and young players. Jack, kind of looking on the outside in now that you're past your college career, what is that kind of chemistry got to look like for you to make a strong college team?
You use the word one and done. I think we might have to change that verbiage, because guys are coming in and being one and done and transferring to another school now.
Yeah.
And you see it everywhere. Every school is dealing with it. They have to recruit in the transfer portal. And you have to deal with guys that, you think were probably going to come back entering the transfer portal because they heard, oh, I might be able to make more money here. And they said that they're going to play me this many minutes. And, the grass isn't always greener. It's not always as good as it sounds. But, you see it everywhere in college basketball these days. And now you almost have to get lucky with, I brought in this group of guys and they play well together, or they don't, and they get along, or they don't. And sometimes you have to trust the words of other people who are helping you recruit these kids who you don't really truly know until they get on campus. But I think that the teams that recruit the best year in and year out are going to have the most success. It's not about development as much as it used to be. When I was at Michigan State, I was there for 4 years, and during my 4-year stint, I was the first one to transfer. And now you look at it and, multiple kids are transferring from every school every single year. So it's definitely a different game now than it was even a couple years ago when I was in college. But I also understand it with the new rules and with NIL, and the landscape is kind of what it is now.
Yeah, and even Matt Rule kind of touched on it. He's not even blaming the kids. He's like, listen, it's like if someone's going to offer you 5 times your pay at whatever job you work at, you're probably going to go take the 5 times pay. And it's not these kids are just selfish. They don't care about the program. It just comes to reality when that money's in front of them. I still think we need to find a way to organize it so there isn't so much of this back and forth, and that these kids, we've even seen some bad NIL deals with kids kind of getting caught by sharks, if you will. So I think, it's got to be organized, but it's just tough. And you can't necessarily always blame the kids for it. But what was that like for you when you transferred? Because at one point in time, it was almost taboo. Like people didn't do it in the past because it had a lot of negative connotations around it.
So a big thing for me when I entered the transfer portal was I just wanted to go somewhere where I was going to play a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
There was zero bad blood towards Michigan State. I still love Michigan State, love Coach Izzo, and I'm very grateful for my time that I spent there. But I just wanted a little bit more opportunity to play after I graduated. And so I entered the portal, and, I got a couple schools that I was talking to, and a couple scholarship offers. And, I almost had to jump on one because I heard that there was over 1,000 kids in the portal, and I knew that there were going to be kids that were left without scholarships. And so, if I waited too long, then I was left maybe walking on at Nebraska or doing something else. But
should have.
I ended up going to UTA, and I had a good time there, and I enjoyed my experience playing there. But I know that there are kids who enter the transfer portal nowadays that expect a lot and they end up with nothing, which, is it fair? I don't know. It's just what it is. But yeah, some people it works out and some people it doesn't.
Yeah, it's always the biggest concern is the kids that, you said the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Shout out to Saudi Offender UNL track. He always puts out the quote, the grass is also greener where you water it. But there's times where it makes sense to move on. And there's times where you might just need to stick it out, where that opportunity might come around the corner. But with that being said, we got a little bit of time here left. Jack, I kind of want to hear your story because you've been around basketball for so long now. I mean, your whole family, the Hoibergs, it's kind of your guys' MO at this point, from your dad to you two right here in studio. What has been your process of after graduation to where you're at now? Because I don't think a lot of people are aware of what you're even up to these days, at least around this area.
So going into college, I was actually committed to play golf at the University of South Dakota. I had a scholarship to play there. But, during my senior year of high school, I realized that I'd rather play basketball. And, I got the opportunity to walk on at Michigan State. And I had a great 4 years there. And, we won a few Big Ten championships and made it to the Final Four, and ended up getting a scholarship, which was awesome. And like I said, I really loved my time there. Then transferred to Texas Arlington, where, like I said, I wanted to play a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And after that year, I was I knew I was done playing basketball, and I knew that I wanted to get into basketball. And growing up, being around our father who played in the NBA, and he's coached in the college, or coached at the college level, and NBA, and now he's back in college. I've seen a little bit of it all, and with NIL right now, I kind of knew that the NBA was the level that I wanted to, try to go to and try to work my way up in. And I went out to the NBA Summer League, and through some interviews and connections, I ended up getting a spot to work for the San Antonio Spurs. So I'm working in the video room right now, and I've had a great 2 years there, and I've learned a ton from Coach Popovich and the whole staff. And it's a great organization, and we're definitely trending in the right direction. And I've loved my time there so far, and like I said, I've learned a ton. So down in San Antonio right now, and our season ended last week, so just in Lincoln for a few days, hanging out with my brother and my family.
Yeah, great franchise to go ahead and land yourself on. Definitely one of the more exciting ones around the league. We haven't even spent much time on it. But obviously, Victor Wembanyama down at the Spurs, you got one of the great all-time coach down there as well. And that's just a fan base that's just been incredibly loyal. And it's allowed the San Antonio Spurs to consistently have, it's been up and down, but the fan base is always stuck there. And which is something, anytime I see a small market team that's that passionate about it, It helps when you have that awesome history from great players to great players. But nonetheless, we'll throw it the break here. We got one more short segment on the other side. This is Walk On Weekly. We got the host as always, as well as guest Jack Hoiberg in studio with us as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Keep summer green with Judson Baleen and Judson Irrigation. More than 40 years ago, Judson Irrigation started taking in orphans. Lawn sprinkler systems installed by a quickie, cheapy summer job, install 'em and forget 'em outfit, long forgotten. Call Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and our annual spring sales event is now underway. We have absolutely huge savings right now at Koppel. New Sierras and new Silverados have a double whammy. Choose from APR starting at 1.9% or discounts over $9,000. Yes, that's right, 1.9% APR or discounts of over $9,000. So please take that short money-saving drive down 144th Street just south of the interstate, or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
The University of Nebraska Rodeo Association is excited to announce the 2024 Nebraska Cornhusker College Rodeo. Come on out to the Sandhills Global Event Center May 3rd and 4th. Cheer on your University of Nebraska Rodeo team as they take on teams from all across the Great Plains region. Friday is college night, and Saturday afternoon, kids attend free with purchase of adult general admission ticket at the door. Advance tickets on sale now at sandhillsglobaleventcenter.org. Tickets also available at the Fort South 56th in Lincoln. Don't miss the Nebraska Cornhusker College Rodeo May 3rd and 4th.
I see the future in our public school classrooms every day. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. I also see how critically important parent and community support is to our students' success. Support your public schools. Get involved. Form a business school partnership or become a school volunteer. Great schools and great communities work hand in hand.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
When you're in New York, Nick, in New York, I mean, you're talking about, you see mafioso types. You go into a restaurant and you would literally eat. Hey, come on over here. You know, they you know, I don't know how to say it. I don't got the accent, but they would say, come, Strick, come here, come over. Have a drink on me. And what are you going to do? Say no?
You not say
you
no
don't
to that?
say no to the drink. You don't say no.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Old School with DP and J.
Nebraska and their staff, football-wise, has done a really good job of, keeping guys, happy. And then obviously they see the opportunity here. Whereas I don't think there's a general reason that you can say, okay, this is why kids are going in the portal. Now we're seeing, even when they're in really good situations for them, they still leave.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back to Walk On Weekly. Here are your hosts, Sam Hoiberg and Jeff Grace III on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final segment on Walk On Weekly before we switch it over to Dump Punt Hour with host, as always, De'Mornay Pearsonell, who'll be streaming in the former Husker special teams veteran and wide receiver. So be sure to stick around for that one. But we got one more segment. And Jack, you mentioned you worked with the Spurs. I just got to ask you, Victor Wembanyama, obviously just been a massive storyline all NBA season. What to you, especially you've been around a little longer, has just been so impressive about the rookie and Victor Wembanyama?
I think the thing that stands out the most is his work ethic paired with his habits. He's going to be an amazing player. He's already a great player. I think he's proven that, and the flashes that you saw throughout this year were pretty special. So to be a part of that's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can accomplish down the road.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride. I'll ask you guys this. Should he be on that Defensive Player of the Year nominee or Anthony Davis? Because I'll stand by that. I don't care who it is. There hasn't been a player to have a great game plan against Jokic, so I'm not going to penalize him that hard because I don't care who it is. No one's really been able to slow that guy down.
I think what you've seen with Victor is the difference of when he's on the court versus when he's off. I think with the Spurs, what did you guys finish up in defensive rating? It was in the 20s for sure.
I think fourth with him on the floor.
But 20s, like 28th when he wasn't on the floor. And I think that jump itself could make an argument that he is Defensive Player of the Year. And then obviously his numbers, I think, were the best of anybody. So I wouldn't mind if he got Defensive Player of the Year. I know Gobert is probably the huge leader right now for it, but
I'll push back a little bit though, because my argument with the center position is it's great. He's definitely close, but I think if you're going to be Defensive Player of the Year, the team has to play great defense as well, because you are almost the quarterback as the center. You're seeing everybody, the whole court in front of you. I feel like it's great with the block numbers, but you also got to have the rest of the team carry them to a great defensive performance as well, if that makes any sense.
I'll push back further. What if they're fourth in the league when he's on the court? That's great defense, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, well, they got it right here. So you're saying they were about 5 points worse when he's off the court. 117 when he's on the court, 123 when he's off the court. And then when you look at a guy, for the sake of it, we'll go ahead and look up what it looks like for a guy like Rudy Gobert, because that's another jump right there. But Jeff Grace, while I looked that up, what's your thoughts on this?
I would just say, from my perspective, in general, he's very mature for his age. Just with like a lot of media, people coming at him each and every time he steps on the court, even if he's around. He just handles it all so well. And I think his like teammates and everyone speaks very highly of him, and that kind of shows a lot about his character. But about the defensive side, honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen a player impact a defense on a transition break, because when he was playing, I think it was the Memphis Grizzlies, it was a 3-on-1. So the Grizzlies had an advantage, and they were all like so scared to like attempt at the rim or even like try to score. And it was just like, I've never seen like just someone like just stop while they're on the court. And it was just like shows you how much of an impact he has on the defensive end.
I know the clip you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they just like it's like they got the ball, saw him, and just turned completely away from the hoop.
Yes.
Like it's crazy seeing a guy affect it so much to where when you get the ball and you see him in front of you, that you completely turn away from the rim. Like he knows that you're not going to fake him out by doing a pump fake. He knows you're not going to try to score it over him because he'll block it.
It was fun to see the teams that would play against him for the first time, and some of the shots that they would attempt at the rim. And you look at it from afar and you're like, what's this guy doing trying to attempt this layup? When you have this, monster at the rim who's blocking everything. But then, you see them attempt that same layup against 26 other teams in the league and have success with it. So, playing teams the first time versus the second time and, seeing their reaction and their shot selection at the rim especially was something that was fun to watch, and it's going to be fun to watch for these next couple of years as well.
Yeah, adding to that, I remember the summer league games. Bryce McGowan's looked like he had a hit out on Wemby, and it didn't go very well for him. Love Bryce. Did great things here, but he tried to attack Wemby, and it didn't go so well for him. I think people could have learned from that.
And I think it's also like crazy, like seeing NBA players' reactions when like they actually like finally like see him on the court. Like they're just all just like shocked.
Yeah, the first shot typically gets blocked too. The first one they try to float over the guy. I mean, what do you average for blocks this season? Was it over 3?
Over 3, yeah.
Like that's incredible.
He's gonna, have the all-time leading average at some point. I think.
Yeah, I saw a crazy stat.
I don't know what
already
maybe Wilt and Bill had, but
he's already had 89% of the NBA. Yeah. All in NBA history of all players who played full NBA careers, he's already above 89% of them after one season.
He's gonna have the highest average per game in one season.
I think so.
I have no doubt about that.
So when it comes to Chet Victor Wembanyama, is it even close for Rookie of the Year?
No.
They took off the odds I saw on there was an Instagram post, I think Bleacher Report posted it. It was of the betting odds of like MVP, Depoy, whatever. You couldn't vote for Wemby anymore because it's so obvious that he's gonna win. It said odds are closed or something.
Yeah. And real quick, with Rudy Gobert on the court, it's a 109. With him off the court, it's a 112. So again, about a 3-point drop there. Still great numbers nonetheless. And we got plenty of more playoff basketball ahead, and we'll have these guys back in here next week as well. We'll keep you tuned in, but this should be locked in for 6 o'clock for the most part. We'll update you on that one. But shout out, we got Walk On Weekly back and Jack Hoiberg for a guest today. Sam Hoiberg, Jeff Grace III, Hair Starts on the 1s and 2s. And again, the guest, Jack Hoiberg in studio today. Don't go anywhere. We got the Don't Punt Hour next. We'll talk to you in a little bit.